Oh, there we go.
Hey guys,
Hey,
are we live? Are we live now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do the intro.
Okay. Greetings, everyone out there in YouTube land or any other country. Welcome to this episode of Cult Classic Movie Corner, where we today will be speaking about a pretty good movie, I think, from 1986, Big Trouble in Little China. Today I have two guests with me. I have Catherine and I have Scotty, which are familiar faces for those of you who follow the excellent Fantasmagorium show channel. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Thanks for joining me to speak about this movie. Let's go with Catherine first. Tell us a little about, tell me and the audience a little about your relationship to Big Trouble in Little China.
So I've been aware of this film for a very long time. I'm aware of all the behind-the-scenes stuff, and I know that I've seen a lot of clips, like, you know, James Hong, Kurt Russell. Like, it was the one movie that kind of kept getting away, and I never got a chance to see it. And I only recently acquired the film on Blu-ray, and I watched it for the first time last night, actually. And
nice. You did? Oh, so that's really nice to hear. So it was your first time viewing it. I knew you were watching it last night, but I did not know that it was your first time.
Yes.
And what about you, Scotty?
I have seen it. I feel like the Jack Burton of the bunch. I don't know what I'm doing here. And so I'm just sort of following the plot, and I am sort of a subsidiary character being carried around. I like Kim Cattrall. I think, you know what? One of the things that I can remember, it's been a while since I've seen it. One of the things that really takes me about this film is the cinematography and the streaking lights and almost anime presentation of it. And I remember it fondly. Also, the incredibly Asian cast. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but like in terms of, it is a showcase for the Asian actors and James Hong.
I'm glad you actually mentioned cinematography, because that is one of the things that stands truly out in this movie. And it's done by Dean Cundey, who worked on movies like Jurassic Park, Apollo 13, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, just a few at the top of my head. So he has some good movies underneath his cinematography belt. And that really is something that stands out. And when you combine that with John Carpenter's way of like framing stuff, how he plays with widescreen, how he just loves to have like open shots where you see a lot of things happening. It's just a treat for the eyes to see how this movie looks. And today, in this environment where we're so much about like 80s retro things, like Stranger Things and all those other stuff that have come in the wake of that show, seeing this movie today is really cool, because it's a movie of its time, but it also hits that awesome retro feel that so many people are into today. And I grew up in the 80s. I was born in 1982, so I saw this movie probably maybe in the beginning of the 90s or something. But basically, well, the beginning of the 90s were just the ugly stepchild of the 80s. So it's fine. And also, cool. It doesn't matter that you didn't watch the movie like this week, like Catherine and I. You can still play the role of Jack Burton, the hero without a clue. I liked how they kind of described what Kurt Russell is playing in this movie. He is kind of playing the Duke without a clue. He is like this super macho guy, but he's a total failure at understanding what the Chinese culture is about. He can't fathom all the things like the Asian actors are trying to tell him about what's happening, the mysticism in Little China. At some point, he stands up and he says, "I'm a reasonable guy, but lately I've encountered some really unreasonable things," something like that, and that kind of says a lot about his character. And the fact that he's kind of a blundering fool. And I believe we have a clip of kind of how he manages to help out in the many action scenes in this movie.
Can you say "Roll it, Scotty"?
Roll it, Scotty.
Yeah, I very much feel like that guy.
That scene is just so perfect. The fact that he's like he has a tank top on, he has muscles, he has a cool hairdo, and he's ready for action, and he just misses the mark all the time. And I think it's unusual for a movie to have a star like Kurt Russell playing the main lead, and in actuality, he isn't the main character.
He is the sidekick.
Yeah, he is the sidekick. He is the main character, but he's playing the sidekick.
It's like I totally felt that his friend Wang Chi is really the lead because he's the one who knows everything. He's constantly having explained things to Jack, and Jack is following his lead, as he saw in that clip. Like even in the climax, when you have that funny bit where Jack fires off the machine gun and the debris falls on his head, knocks him out. It's like, oh, yeah. It's like the moment when you're about to have your big hero moment, you feel, where he's finally going to catch on to things. Like, nope. It's just.
Yeah, it's amazing. And also towards the end, where he's confronting the bad guy, and he has just been kissed in the elevator by the character of Kim Cattrall, and he's just standing there being tough and like laying down the law for this bad guy with his lips just covered in red lipstick. And these are like the small details that I just love about this movie. It's filled with like grandiose moments, but also a lot of comic relief. But still, it's totally full on adventure. There's horror elements. There's a really grisly beast in Lopan's mansion that goes around like snatching people inside the walls and running away with them. And I remember when I saw this movie on cable when I was a kid, I thought that monster was like really terrifying. But when I see the movie now as almost a 40-year-old, the thing that gets me more is like the irony and the humor and also kind of the whole deadpan feel of this entire movie.
It's a very strange situation in an era now where we feel like subverting expectations is a negative or a pejorative. And that is a movie where you have Kurt Russell as Jack Burton on, maybe it was to sell the movie. And it's like, we got Kurt Russell. It's not really about him. I'm sorry to bait and switch you here. But like, it's an incredible movie that is like, it's sampled by so many genres and East and West. Like, not only you have the Asian influence of a kung fu movie and mysticism and Eastern influence, but also you drop Jack Burton into it, and he is by no means a Bugs Bunny. He is very much a Daffy Duck.
Yeah.
And like throughout the movie, he keeps, at first his motivation is to get his truck back, but you can tell he's really getting into it. As much of a bumbling guy as he is and doesn't know what's going on, he's still invested in it. So when they say, Wang Chi eventually brings up, I thought this was about your truck. He's like, oh yeah, it is. And it's like, clearly he cares more about saving the girl at this point.
He kind of gets into it and he gets caught up in the whole thing.
Yeah.
But he goes through so many phases in this movie.
Yeah.
Not actual faces. Sorry for my Norwegian accent, but phases.
Yeah, he does. And that's why it does feel all the more so when you're watching it that, okay, Wang Chi is really the guy who is leading the show. Even when they go to see Uncle Sam over at the restaurant, he's starting to, tell them all about this. And I thought it was funny that he thought it was a good idea to bring Jack along. I guess maybe they were going to use him as a human shield if necessary.
It always helps to have a dumb guy who will run into the action first.
Yeah. So I haven't really thought about it. I saw an article which I was supposed to read before this show, but I didn't get time. I just finished a call with my doctor. But there was an article about how the Asian people received this movie when it came out, and as far as I could understand from like the little I saw of the article, it was with a great deal of skepticism, and they didn't really appreciate it. And that's probably because it plays onto like very classic Asian people tropes.
Yeah, the Fu Manchu stuff, of course.
Yeah,
and the fact that okay, you're making a story which you're saying is supposed to be showcasing all this type of stuff, but you made the main protagonist this bumbling white guy moron, and it's like, why did you just if you want to lean into that, then why don't you lean into Wang Chi as the lead character? But yeah, I could see why they probably felt that way, but I felt it was kind of like trying to be a throwback to those, like kind of like how Kill Bill was a throwback to those old 70s kung fu movies, and this is kind of the same thing because I mean, yes, there's a lot of 80s stuff in it, but it does feel also like a throwback to those early 70s type stuff. I mean, admittedly, only James Hong and his 3 minions are really the ones who really lean into that story. Like the rest of them seem like they're, they don't try and do a caricature of it. It's just, admittedly, there's things that are really funny that happens. Like when he first crashes the truck in Chinatown, you have the two gangs going at it, and it's like, wait, he's completely bewildered because he's never seen these people before, even though he's probably delivered shit to Chinatown on plenty of occasions.
Yeah, and I actually heard that this movie was originally intended to be a Western. Before it was rewritten, reimagined, and it went to John Carpenter. In the beginning, this script was actually about a lone rider coming into a town in the Old West, which was ran by the Chinese, and the plot would center around a girl and some stuff, but it was never finished. But I can kind of see that also. If you imagine what this movie is about and a lot of the elements in the movie, you could easily kind of like transfix it into like being a Western. It has like Western elements in it. But then they took that, they played upon it, made it into something more modern because it didn't quite work, I think.
Well, and also considering, like, it wasn't until later in John Carpenter's career that he really sort of embraced his Westernism as being on the forefront and on the screen. Like you could say that it happened in Escape from New York. You can say that it happened in The Thing, but it wasn't until later when it was like John Carpenter's Vampires. Or like it was later, or even Ghosts of Mars. Like these were movies where John Carpenter said, okay, well, I'm just going to make Westerns in different locations. But with this one, I don't know. It's like, imagine making a movie, imagine making a Andy of Mayberry movie and your main character is Barney Fife. And it's everyone else around Barney Fife who is making it so that, no, put the bullet back in your pocket and just, will you please? And everyone else is more capable. And it's really, I don't know. It seems really interesting to have. I am fascinated by Jack Burton being a secondary character and yet still being on the poster. That, I hate to keep harping on it, but it is...
Yeah, I heard snippets of the commentary track, which I need to listen to the whole thing because it seems really entertaining. It's basically John Carpenter and Kurt Russell sitting there like laughing their ass off.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, I had it on it.
DVD, I had to pawn it for booze. But when I had this DVD, I poured all over it. And it was a comedy in the eyes of Carpenter and Russell, saying this, again, movies that would not be made today. Like, you could throw around the word white savior in terms of any cultural community. And then you have, the Kurt Russell character, and they show up and they save the day. But no, it is actually Kurt Russell shows up in this community, and they are like, will you please stop doing what you're doing while we do our job?
Yeah, basically. He is no savior, that's for sure. He may be white, but he is no savior.
Well, and he's helping. I'm not saying he's a complete bumbling fool, but he is a somewhat bumbling fool.
He is a somewhat bumbling fool.
I do especially like the fact that Egg Shen is like a tour bus driver in the day. Like, that's his main job. And it's like, he's actually this great ancient sorcerer. It's like, oh, okay. It's like,
they go back to his garage, and he has a lot of like potions and stuff. And also in the closet, he just has this fire pole that runs straight down into the sewers. So he can use that to go into the mystical parts of Little China. It's just the imagination that goes into this movie is incredible.
Yeah, and like when they're sneaking into Lopan's lair, he insists on stopping at the bar because they gotta drink up the liquid courage. Like, dude, you're on the way. We gotta get moving.
Yeah.
But I also Victor Wong's playing that role. He, from another cult film.
He's great.
Great. Yeah, he's great.
He is so great in this movie. He, I love him also in John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
A really good, schlocky character actor, which basically it's a joy every time he turns up in a movie.
Yeah.
But they didn't do this movie any favors when they tried to distribute and market it. I heard in the beginning of the commentary track that Kurt Russell said something about the fact that he was supposed to be this big star in this movie, but they didn't know how to market it. So they really just didn't. So he had friends that were like, weren't you supposed to be in a big movie this summer? And he's like, yeah, it's Big Trouble in Little China. And they were like, what, never heard of it? So the movie kind of just got lost in the marketing of the summer of '86, and it went up against movies like Top Gun. So
well, and also what this year came out, or this movie came out in 1986.
Mm-hmm.
Was this the same year as The Golden Child?
Yes.
It seems like there was a little bit of a crossing of the wires. I don't know the studios. I don't know anything like that. But before I had ever seen this, and I saw this movie later in life, I always got Big Trouble in Little China and The Golden Child sort of mixed up because of that Eastern influence mysticism. And I didn't know. And so I kind of put them in the same category. And after having seen both of those movies after the fact, much later in life, I can understand how that tangling happened with the audiences of the time.
From what I understood, the studio got a hold of the information that the Golden Child was going to be released, and that also dealt with like Chinese mysticism and stuff. So they rushed Big Trouble in Little China. They got a budget of 25 million and a very short pre-production period because they wanted to reach the cinema market before the Golden Child. I'm not sure if they did or not because I haven't checked when the two movies actually got released.
Another thing I think would be a problem for their marketing is the fact that, like you're saying, they're trying to, on the one hand, market Kurt Russell as this leader, big action hero thing, and that's not really what he is in the movie. Like they try and shoot, like they take a swipe at all those tropes every chance they get in this film, which is what makes it really fun. Like even at the end when he walks out, they kind of break the fourth wall in a way, like, oh, you're not even gonna kiss her? And he's like, nah. Yeah. Just, so that would be
doesn't want that
word of mouth, because back then movies did not live or die on their weekend box office. Like word of mouth was still a very big thing. So it's like if you're marketing the movie as one thing, but then people who are seeing it are saying, well, no, it's something else, then that kind of then it sort of falls in on itself in a way. It gets lost in the shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, this was released July. Okay, I'm looking it up. This was released July 2nd of 86. And
Golden Child was released 12th of December.
Okay.
So yeah,
same year. Okay, so
Same year.
that's enough of a margin.
Oh yeah, but it was like I said, it was totally a point for them to be the first movie because they didn't want to lose out, and that happens like all the time in Hollywood. You have like 2 movies about a comet destroying Earth, and then you have
You leave
2 movies
Armageddon
about.
and Deep Impact alone.
No, I won't leave them alone. I like both. I like both the mother and the daughter.
Yeah, there's so many scripts nowadays. Even you think that the screenwriters must be talking to each other or something at the guilds and finding out what the new hip thing is. Because you look at the production schedules and it's like it's not possible. They started this production, like the second movie, say too early. Like they had to have had inside knowledge of what this. It can't be that much of a coincidence, you know.
No,
and that happens a lot.
Yeah, all the time.
It does. It happens all the time. And I have to mention one other thing that really I think stands out in this music. It does often in John Carpenter movies, but the music. I love the score for this this movie. I was actually lucky enough to see John Carpenter twice when he toured around and played his film music for live audiences. Did any of you guys get to see it?
No.
I saw it twice. Oh, I feel bad now.
Feel powerful. You have something on us.
The thing is, he announced that he was coming to Copenhagen in Denmark, and that's not a very long trip for me. It's like just a very short and cheap flight. So I went there with a friend of mine and saw the concert. It was amazing, really cool. And then like a few months later, he suddenly announced that he was going to play in Oslo, which is like half an hour from where I live. So then I went for a second helping, like any person at a good buffet should. And it was the same show. It's not one of those things where he changes around the order of the music. It's a show that runs from like A to B and it's done. The same jokes, the same intros, the same clips, the same songs, but still I enjoyed seeing it twice. And it's something about just hearing those amazing John Carpenter themes being played with an audience. He is an amazing musician. And I arranged for a little clip from the end credit song, which is by John Carpenter and his band at the time called the Coup de Villes or Coupe de Villes. Isn't that a car? Catherine should be able to answer this. It's yeah. This is your area. And today, or when it came out, it was really 80s. Then later, it probably is kind of cringy. But like today, with this surge of like new synth bands like Gunship and The Midnight, and many other bands like that, I think this song is kind of some of those people could have made this song today. So roll it, Scotty.
Was that the clip? Was that the clip I was supposed to play?
It was the clip. You did well, son.
And you think that would be that's a modern song?
No. Of course, it's not a modern song, but a lot of bands are making music that kind of is a throwback to that kind of music. Like there's a band today called Carpenter Brute, which is basically a band that kind of emulates the John Carpenter sound. Wrong Carpenter. But yeah, I love like in the beginning of this movie when the Pork Chop Express theme rolls out and you see Jack Burton is riding in the rain in his awesome truck, the Pork Chop Express. He's talking on the radio, he's being a tough guy already, and it's just the perfect opening for a movie like this. It sets the scene, and from the beginning of this movie with the theme song, the truck, the rain, the movie kind of never lets down. It's just it just keeps on trucking basically.
Speaking of that, I really love that this movie doesn't waste any time jumping right into the story and the suspense. It's like they're not going to waste like 20 minutes or whatever to introduce the characters doing ho-hum and then have, because usually it's about at 20-minute mark in your script where the story really takes off. This one doesn't do that. It's like you have the little back and forth between him and his friend, and I like that he doesn't seem to trust that he's going to pay him for that, even though they're supposed to be like really great friends. But you show up at the airport and it's like, cool, there's all these other plot points, all this stuff's going on, and it's like, man, we're taking off, I love that.
Yeah, it just starts almost immediately, and for me, I saw it a few days ago, and it doesn't feel like what's the runtime? It's 1 hour 40, and it seems like just an hour has passed because it's just fun and action and new things the whole time. It's one of those movies that I think I could put it on anytime I want and I wouldn't feel bored, even though I've seen it several times before.
Yeah, and I also read that Long Po's 3 underlings, the guy who commands the lightning, may have been the inspiration for the Raiden character in the Mortal Kombat video game.
It must have been, because he basically is Raiden.
Yeah, that was
he has the straw hat and he controls the lightning.
Yeah, I looked at that and I'm like, hey, it's Raiden.
Yeah, I've always identified him as Raiden.
Those 3 characters and the effects are just off the chain in this movie.
I do appreciate that the cultural appropriation of Raiden is off of an American film.
Sorry, Asian people.
Yeah, I love it because
sorry, American people, it's scorched earth. We're just saying that everyone's wrong.
We're all goof people.
That you're right. It's like
wrong channel.
It's like a silly comedy movie, and I like that. It's not, it wants you to have fun with it. It wants you to kind of laugh at the fact that Jack Burton is a klutz rather than the competent hero, and it's just really fun.
Yeah. I regret so heavily the fact that I didn't get the 6th scale figure of Jack Burton when it was released. I've tried getting it secondhand, but it's almost no one is selling it because obviously it must be that cool.
Well, if I had a choice, I would take a Snake Plissken over a Jack Burton any day.
Well, maybe you can have both.
Oh no! What kind of animated movies could I make? Stop motion. Weird. Yeah. Like if Kurt Russell makes love to Kurt Russell, is it Master Rustling?
Master Rustling. It's called Kurting. So, Catherine, what edition do you have of this movie on physical media? Because you said you bought it not that long ago.
Yes, I have the Blu-ray Steelbook. Big
Ooh, nice.
China. We got it's all on the back.
Is that released by Shout Factory?
Yes, this is the Shout Factory release, and it's got the other disc is in the player right now. It's all in the reflexes.
It's all in the reflexes, yeah.
And I like that. That's another classic trope where you fire the gun in Act 1 or pull the gun in Act 1. You're gonna fire it in Act 3 type of thing. Well, you did that neat trick, and of course that's how.
With the bottle and the knife. Yes, I know exactly what you mean, and I really like it. I have this release from British Arrow, and I do believe it's basically the same release as Shout. Often you'll see that Arrow and Shout have the same special features, documentaries. So it's probably the same transfer, not a steelbook.
Yeah, because like you said, Arrow was the European version basically of. I mean, they're not related, but they do. They get a hold of the same features. I've noticed a lot.
Yeah.
Is that 4K or Blu-ray? I'm sorry.
Blu-ray. It's not out in 4K. The cool thing with all of Arrow's releases, which I need to just say for those who don't know, is that all their movies come with covers that you can turn them inside out, and there's 2 different versions of the cover art. So this is the old school one, and or you can do their new one, which looks like this.
I love that, and I have that for Buckaroo Banzai as well, and I appreciate.
Oh yeah, I need to get that one.
You can invert it, and it's really good. Oh, and by the way, if I can make requests in the middle of your Big Trouble in Little China show, when are we doing Buckaroo Banzai?
When I've gotten a hold of it on physical media, because that's the one
Sounds like
I
a
need to get it.
plan.
Sounds like a plan. So, closing thoughts about the movie? Anything we'd like to say before we head on over to the commentary section?
Well, I just want to say that that I found it to be like, it's been a while since I've seen it, and I'm doing this off of recollection. I am aware of my deficiencies, and thank you for pointing them out. But like, it is a gloriously beautiful movie that is, and as Kat said, a comedy, but an action comedy. And it does, like, it has tension, but also levity. And there are, it's of its time, as I like to say from time to time. But there's nothing mean-spirited about this movie. It is steeped in tradition and storytelling from both sides of the Pacific. And if I may add just one more thing, thank you, Kim Cattrall, for having such a sprawling career over so many genres and being everything to everyone throughout your career. Like, she is really incredible. I don't know what she's up to now. I don't know if she's offended anyone. I don't know what the deal is. But like,
canceled.
From Porky's to Big Trouble in Little China to Mannequin to Star Trek VI to Sex in the City. Like, I don't even know, but this lady was all over the place. And she is one of these actresses or actors that when you see her, it's like, well, I don't think it's going to be bad. So I just want to give big shout out to Kim Cattrall. Also Canadian.
So Kim Cattrall, if you're out there, Scott wants your phone number.
I will graciously accept your neglect.
I really like this movie. I feel that you don't need to have character depth at all in it, because it's one of those movies that just wants you to go in and have fun. Like I said, it just picks up immediately. It is unfortunate that John Carpenter was as upset about the reception as he was, to the point that he didn't want to make any more movies, because he could have made, he could have done all sorts of great films after that.
Well, he made Memoirs of an Invisible Man. Come on.
Yeah, he made a lot of, he made more movies, but this experience was so bad with the studios that he decided that I'm not going to be working with the big studios anymore in this fashion. They kind of railroaded him with how they marketed the movie. They were meddling into what he wanted to do. It was a tough shoot for him.
Right, because when he did his other movies, a lot of them were more from the smaller studios, like independent stuff where you have more control. But part of the downside of that is that you're not going to get a ton of offers afterwards either, because you need it's a business to generate money and that kind of thing. But I think it's just a really fun movie, not trying to be offensive to anybody. It's just like, hey, let's just have a funny, silly old time, like an old early 70s kung fu movie,
Yeah. And he was coming off of Starman when he got offered this, and Starman, of course, was a really big commercial success, which kind of propelled him into the studio's attention. I think it's really fun, Catherine, that you saw the movie for the first time. That's cool, and that you liked so much. That says something about the longevity of a movie like this. And as far as what I'd like to say, I think I've said most of the things I need to say about this movie. I love it. I have had a relationship with this movie since the first time I rented it with my good friend at the VHS store and watched it at a sleepover. After that, I had the movie recorded on VHS from cable. I think I missed out a scene because I tried to cut out the commercials. So when I saw this movie on Blu-ray years later, it was like, I can't remember that scene. And it's probably because I actually missed the cue. So my recording of it didn't have that scene.
Terje, does, and again, I haven't seen this in a while, does Big Trouble in Little China have nudity?
No.
Okay,
It doesn't.
just
No
question
nothing.
for an
Yeah.
80s action movie question. I'm not just saying, well, it's got nudity.
I'd say this movie is quite family friendly, really. And like the action and stuff in this movie is really mild. If it came out today,
nearly cartoonish.
Yeah, it has a PG-13 rating, and today maybe it would be PG.
Yeah, that almost feels too high for that. It feels like a PG movie.
So let's see what people are saying. What people are saying in the chat.
Yes, let's. Well, heavens, check out this nonsense.
I love her super stickers.
She has a super sticker. I don't know what the image is, but any support to the channel is always appreciated. Thank you so much.
It's always a diamond. Her middle name is Diamond.
Oh, my stars.
Jovelar says, well, hello there. And hello back right at you. Talmichael Genisevsky says, okay, I'm feeling a little gay for Terje today. Alas, I'm working, so I can only listen in every few minutes or so. Well, I hope I'm entertaining you with my lovely accent.
I want to make... Never mind, I'm not going to make that joke.
Cinema Gulp, welcome to the show. And he says, yes, now I'm a reasonable guy, but I've just experienced some very unreasonable things, which is the thing that Jack Burton says after being presented with a lot of this hokey pokey mysticism.
That's right, because he keeps advocating throughout the movie that they should call the cops.
Yeah. Cinema Gulp follows up with, he does toss the knife right into Lopan's head. Yeah, we touched barely upon that. It's the scene where in the beginning of the movie he catches a bottle when his friend tries to cut it in half, and he says it's all in the reflexes. And basically the only thing he knows how to do is catch something quick and maybe throw it back. So he catches a knife and he throws it right between Lopan's eyes, and follows up, of course, with it's all in the reflexes. Tom Michael says, LOL, he said horror elements, but I heard horror elements. Yeah, I'm sorry. That'll happen sometimes.
Don't apologize.
When English is your second language, and sometimes
it's pronounced
you just
Anglais.
stumble upon yourself.
That actually happens with a lot of people where English is their first language, and it sounds like they're saying the same thing, like horror instead of horror. So that one's understandable.
That horror is a total horror. Cinema Gulp said, Kurt Russell is friggin' hilarious in it, though, main lead or not. Yeah, totally agree. He owns this movie. Hello, ma'am. Henry Swanson's my name, and excitement's my game. Yeah, that's a scene where Kurt Russell dresses up as basically the worst-looking businessman ever and tries to go into a Chinese whore house to try and find the girl. Horror. A house of whores who hoard.
A brothel.
A brothel.
A brothel. Yes.
Yeah. The nicest little brothel in Chinatown. And he's looking for the girl with the green eyes. Jovelar says, the concert in Oslo was fantastic, Terje. First row, few meters from John Carpenter, sunglasses, obey. Yes, he was at the concert with me. He's a friend from Norway. We sat on the first row. We were like feet away from the man himself. And I did a thing before the concert at the event on Facebook and tried to get as many people as possible to bring sunglasses for when they were playing the theme from They Live.
Oh, nice. Oh, my God. Obey.
Yes.
Darius
Munchausen.
Ahoy.
Hail at the Fantasmagorium show.
Just a big shout out to Darius Munchausen. Thank you for being here for whatever kind of shenanigans we happen to be putting on. And speaking of shenanigans,
RM loves accents. Well, thank you. I'm a blush.
Well, dude, I'm Canadian. I got a Canadian accent. I have accents. Kat's from California. She's got a Californian accent, right?
We all have accents.
Well, yes, I quite think so. I am a sommelier by trade.
Well, we do, because this show today is being brought to you from 3 different countries.
This is an international presentation.
Yes.
It is. We are quite international.
Yes.
Aren't we, though? Aren't we?
We are.
Well, if I may do some shameless shilling, Terje.
Yes.
Every Monday night, we do the Set to Stun Star Trek show, myself and Chandra. That is primarily a Canadian show. On Wednesday nights, we do the James Bond show, and there are no British shows or British people on the show. And it's called Martinis, Gadgets, and Guns. We got a bunch of episodes. You should check those out. And then every Thursday, rounds about this time, we do the Cult Classic Movie Corner with yourself and all of the things that you know about and introduce us to. And there are a bunch of episodes that you've made. Some are, well, all are awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I think it's a joy. I love having different people on. I just love talking about movies in general, and doing that while other people can take part, comment, come with requests is great. And I just want to remind everyone out there that you can contact us and have your send in requests about cult movies you want us to discuss. It'll be put on a list, and we'll see which one we will do. Also, if you feel very strongly about a movie, you have a decent camera and microphone, you can also contact us and apply for being a guest. We said in the first show, apply. Yes. Well,
I don't know how to say it. I'm not making fun of you. I'm just saying it like you think that there's structure to this.
Please come be on my show. Please.
That's how we've done it since forever. And also, if you'd like to get in contact with the Fantasmagorium Show channel, we are at the Fantasmagoriums on Twitter. You can obviously, anytime you wish, make a comment on any of the videos that we have here on the Fantasmagorium Show channel on YouTube. We are on Rumble. If you'd like to, we have the Fantasmagoriumshow.com. And we have the Fantasmagorium Show or StreamYards /Fantasmagorium Show /tip or something along those lines. There's things all over the place, and it's all Fantasmagorium. If you'd like to know how to get in touch with us, it's FANTMagorium, and it's great. It's fun times. Okay, I didn't know how to spell. I barely knew the name of this show until I had to do stuff with it.
Fantasmagorium show.
Thank you.
Your name isn't even Scott.
No, I know it's not.
So I want to thank both of you for coming on the show and discussing this great romp of a fantastic movie.
What's going on next week?
I want to thank everyone in the comments for leaving comments, and I hope I'll see you next week. Next week, the show will most likely be on Friday, because next Thursday, at the same time as this show usually runs, I'll be sitting in a theater, stuffing my face with Coca-Cola and popcorn, watching Dune.
Fuck you.
Yeah. I know, fuck. But next week, there's a new movie, and we're going to roll that clip very soon, so be at the ready, Scotty. Thanks for coming, and remember, stay cult. Roll it, Scotty.